If you could go back in time and give yourself a piece of advice, but you couldn't share any of your experience, like you can tell your previous self what you're doing, who you are, any of that stuff. If you could go back 10 years, and if some of you guys are younger, maybe it's a shorter period of time, but if you could go back to your younger self, what would you tell? What piece of advice would you give you? Actually, for real, guys, I want to read your comments. Put that down below in the comments. What's a piece of advice you would, if you could go back in time and give your younger self a piece of advice that didn't reveal anything about who you are today or what you've done, what's that piece of advice you would give them about life? Because today is my 38th birthday, and one of my brothers asked me that question, and that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. I want to share with you guys the best piece of advice that I would give my younger self. So, and 10 years ago, I guess I turned 28, and I was teeing up to put my packet in for the 75th Ranger Regiment. I was right in the middle of that process. I was driving a Nissan Titan. I was an infantry officer. 10 years before that, I had just graduated high school. I was driving a 1994 Toyota Celica, and I remember the headlight on the car. I had hit a deer. I didn't have the money to fix the freaking headlight, so it had the primer still on the headlight. But I bought that car for, I think it was $3,000 or $4,000, and I worked for like 2-3 summers to save up the money for that car. So I went from minimum wage, temp worker, then I driving a 1994 Toyota Celica, to 10 years later, I'm an infantry officer. I got a Nissan Titan. Today, I got a Lamborghini Urus in the driveway. I live here in freaking a mile from the beach. It's actually literally 2.5 miles from my house. If you take the road, it takes you to the beach. It's about a mile straight line distance to the beach. But to get to the beach, you have to take the road and then the overpass. And I work for myself. I have a business, a coaching and consulting business where I do leadership, mindset, fitness, coaching. I help people build the best them. And it's been a hell of a couple of decades. And I wanted to share this piece of wisdom with you guys because I think it could really put your potential into perspective. Because 10 years ago, I had chosen to take a leap of faith. I had chosen to go from enlisted soldier to become an infantry officer, and I was taking the next step to get into special operations, and that was a scary process for me. But I stepped into that fear, and I did my last video or 2 videos ago. I did on that subject. I wrote about don't deselect yourself, and you guys had a bunch of great stuff to say on that video. I'm actually thinking the next video I do is going to be on answering pretty much all those topics, or at least touching on all the topics that you guys put in that video, because there are some really good ones that you guys gave. But let me get through this video so that you guys it's a good use of your time. Point being is that 10 years ago, I was going for it. I was working hard. I was training hard. I was nervous, but I was leaning into this dream that I had of getting into special operations. And I, at the time, thought that I was doing well in my career. And I tried to buy my first home. I think it was earlier that year. No, the year before. And the banks wouldn't lend me the money, and I got denied. So I was working on myself heavily in personal development. I was learning about money. I was learning about finance. I was learning about success. I was studying wealthy people. I was studying successful people. I was studying special operations, and I was really working on me. And I thought I was doing all the right things, okay? But I thought I was working hard. But if I look back on that, on myself 10 years ago, and I could go back and give myself some advice, this would be it. This is what I told my brother. I would look myself in the face, and I would say, you think you're all in, but you're not even fucking close. And I would say it just like that. The reason I would say it like that is because I was the type of guy where I needed somebody to look me in the face and curse so that I really got the message. I was also the guy that I was a hard worker compared to my peers. But when I really measured, if I were to look back and if I were to really measure my work ethic, my character, if I were to measure my character against some of the best people on the face of the planet, I was still below average, below the average of those great people. At the point, guys, so this is my message to you. You know, you might be that hard worker right now. You might see yourself as the person that's reading the books that you think you need to read. You might be the person that's putting in a little bit of extra time after you get off your 9 to 5. You might be the person that's waking up a little bit earlier than everybody else. You might have this story that you're all in on your path. But I will tell you, you're not even fucking close to being all in. All in's not about what you do. Being all in on something is about what you're willing to give up. And if you have not stripped away the things that are slowing you down in life, you're not even close to being all in. So for myself, I hadn't gave up some of the recreational lifestyle. Now, I don't think you have to give it all up. It depends on how high you want to go. You know, and that guy, Chris Bumstead, what is his last name? The bodybuilder, the 5-time Mr. Olympia. I know he doesn't have a perfect diet all year round. There's top UFC fighters that I know that I've seen them, they drink a little bit. They splurge a little bit on food here and there. I don't drink. But my point is that I don't think you have to be perfect to be great. But there are things in your life that if you don't strip them away, you're not actually all in. You have things in your life that are holding you back. And if your goal is to reach your potential, that's what I want for you guys. That's why I do these videos. I want to see you guys improve. I want to see you guys become your best self. I want to see you guys become leaders that you would follow. And I wish that I would have found or had an online mentor like I'm being for you guys when I was coming through. I had, I'll shout out to Andy Frisella. Andy Frisella has helped me a ton through his personal content, through his podcast and the content that he had back in like 2015, 16. But he didn't have lifestyle stuff. He didn't have these videos like I'm doing for you guys. And he did a really good job. He helped me a ton. But I wish that there would have been more people showing the full picture of what it takes to succeed and where they were really at in all aspects of life. And that's what I'm trying to do with you guys in this channel, is really teach you what I've learned over the years through trial and error to get to the level that I'm at, okay? And one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, and I keep reminding myself of this lesson because if this lesson was true 10 years ago, it's true today in my life. And that I think I'm all in right now. But if I look back on the last year, the last 2 years, if you look back on the last year or 2 years, could you have done better? What are some areas of your life that you could have tightened up, fixed? I think telling ourselves the story that we are all in, kind of dangerous. I think it's actually safer to tell ourselves that we strive to be all in, because we understand that we can keep reaching further and further and further. So pick an area of your life that you want massive results in. Maybe it's just yourself. Maybe you want to feel good about you. Are you all in on you? Because you can't live two lives if you're going to be all in on you. You can't be a superhero during the day in the uniform, quote unquote, and then at night be an absolute shit show. You got to be who you pretend to be all the fucking time, who you pretend to be, because you pretend to be your best self. Okay, guys? Like, that pretending to be your best self is a part of you, and you can be that person all the time. But your true self, man, your true self has no limitation. Your best self, your true self, it doesn't have this shit that's holding you back. So I want you guys to use this video to like really take inventory of the areas of your life that you know that need to go. Whether it's drinking, look at your habits. Just pick and improve upon your habits. And that's my message for you guys. If you think you're all in, you're not even fucking close. But to a winner, that's some of the best advice that they'll ever hear, because it reminds them that they can do better. I love you guys. I'll see you down in the comments. Conquer all.